The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a fan bragging story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Very nice to have you along with us today. And super excited with our next guest as he's going to help me coach me to greatness.
But in order to be coached to greatness, something's got to change.
Oh, no. And we didn't talk about that.
Right. And according to our next guest, he says, you don't find greatness in a single day or even overnight. Change takes time, and making too many changes in a short period of time creates chaos. But there's still good news. Incremental positive changes can help you find your purpose, hold yourself accountable, achieve your goals, hit your objectives. Doesn't that sound like all the stuff we want to do? Absolutely.
Yes,
every single day. Our guest is coach and leader John M. Hawkins. He's here to reveal strategies that will help us accomplish more and, most importantly, be in a better position to help others who are also seeking growth. John Hawkins, welcome to the Experience Pros Radio Show.
Hi, and thank you, Eric and Angel. It's great to be here.
John, it is our privilege to have you on the program. Thank you. Let's start with this. In order to coach anybody, I mean, I've been on both sides of the coaching, both basketball, baseball, and so on. In order to coach somebody, you got to find out what motivates them. Talk, if you will, please, to address the topic of motivating the person to do that change, because change is hard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, change is one of the hardest things that we can do. And the hard part is really trying to find motivation. I've had conversations with many even great leaders who are having challenges finding their motivation. So finding motivation comes from a number of sources. Sometimes it comes from within. It can come from negative situations where you're forced. Your back is in a corner and you're forced to have to make a change. It can come from positive influences in your life. So from that perspective, each one of us has our own reason for doing things. And that really is what the motivation is. It's the reason for doing something. And finding that reason is what is difficult for so many people to do.
John, and I've been in different groups where the leader, is there and they think, they've got people under them who are saying, I just need you to motivate me. But if that motivation doesn't come from the inside, how effective is the external motivator?
Sure. I mean, it all has to come from within. There's the want to things and the have to do things. So there's things that we have to do every day. We have to pay our taxes. We have to, we want money, so we have to go to work and do that. But then there's the want to things. So from a motivational perspective, leaders who are coming down and saying, you have to be motivated, you have to do this, there isn't any passion there. You're checking a box. You're doing something that is absolutely required. The key for that leader is to identify what that person is passionate about. Once you can tie it to a heart, to a passion, the motivation comes from there. And that's one of the difficult things when you're working with employees or mentoring people, is identifying what their passion is and getting that switch to flip on by having that conversation.
All right, so let's say that we do find that switch, that motivation, and it comes from within, and we're getting, okay, now we're ready to go. What's next? How do we need to reassess some of the fundamentals?
No, absolutely. And I think so. I mean, one of the things is that when you listen to a song, you're at the gym, you listen to a song, the music is exciting, it gets you motivated. Or you hear a motivational speaker and you're really pumped and excited and ready to go. The challenge is that motivation only lasts for so long. For the song, it might be 3 minutes. You're talking to the speaker, it lasts for an hour. But what happens after the hour and a half, that night, later that day? The challenge is that you start to lose the motivation, and that reason behind it goes away. So one of the things that I do is I start to build on foundations. And these are the foundational elements that are required to continue motivation. So I'll give you a case in point. One of the things that successful people do, and this is true of Bill Gates and a number of the other great leaders out there, is they keep a journal with them every day. So the journal is designed as a symbol. It's a constant reminder that you are looking for motivation, you're looking for change. The action of writing down in that journal is committing your thoughts and ideas to that page. When you start to commit things, your brain starts to look at it differently. So one of those simple changes that you can do is start to keep the journal and try and track those changes. And as you track changes, you start to identify patterns, and you'll say, well, this is a goal, this motivates me, or this isn't. And by that process of getting involved in that journal, it actually helps you to identify what you're passionate about. And from that, you can then build a plan, because the plan is something that you need to be able to accomplish those goals.
We're talking with John Hawkins, author of Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth. You can find him online at johnmhawkins.com. John, you made a comment in our introduction, but making too many changes in a short period of time creates chaos. Give me an example of what motivated that statement.
Sure, absolutely. So success is really about a series of accomplishments, and those accomplishments are required to help build motivation and get you to a point where you accomplish more and more. It's a foundation. It's like building a house. The bigger the foundation, the bigger the building you can put on it. Change is something that we all need. The challenge is that when you make too much change over a short period of time, it can cause the chaos. That was the statement I made. And what I mean by that is that, let's say, for example, you've got your foundation and your house, and you're designed for a single family home, right? Our foundation's designed for a single family home.
Right.
And all of a sudden you put the weight of a skyscraper on that foundation. That foundation will be smashed and crushed and pushed into the ground. And that can happen with people too. If you don't have a strong foundation that was designed for that skyscraper and the weight of that comes on you, it creates chaos for you. So as you start to accomplish goals, you're starting to build that foundation up block by block, brick by brick. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over the course of our lifetime. But the goal really is to identify those areas that we can accomplish in, because any type of success can get you to a point where you can start to make more and more success, right? Success begets success. So that's what I meant by chaos. It's having too much opportunity put on a framework that cannot support it.
Okay. You said something, though, that caught my attention, John, that you said that, the change takes time. It's going to take the time. The course correction is going to take the course of our lifetime. And I imagine there are people sitting here saying, okay, Coach, I get it, but I don't want to wait that long for what I'm trying to accomplish.
Is there a speed round?
You're looking for the easy button, the fast pass, right?
You gave the example of the skyscraper, and I appreciate that. In my head, though, I'm thinking about my golf game, right? And the same rule applies. That if I start switching up the grip with my right hand and switching up the grip with my left hand, if I bend my knees a little bit too much, tilt my shoulders, before you know it, I've overcorrected, and there's a huge problem. How do we get to what's something we can do today that will move us in the right direction for tomorrow, but we don't have to wait until we die to realize that we accomplished?
Well, absolutely. And Eric, I'm not sure about your golf game. I've never seen you swing a golf club. But if you think about it, Eric, this is one of those areas where too much change can cause chaos. So let's say, for example, you're out there and you're swinging, and you decide to change the grip. And you change the grip, and then you change the stance, and then you change the ball position, and you start to change all these things. So you've changed these things, and all of a sudden you swing at the ball, and you don't even know what you're doing. You're completely lost. The better way to go about doing it is to, perfect practice makes perfect. So with your golf game, you have to keep everything the same and minimize those changes. You identify one thing to change. You have to test it. And once it's tested, get the feedback. It's the feedback from our mentors, from our coaches. It's from those inputs around us. So that way, as you're making a single change at a time, over time, you are going to be better at golf, but it's one change at a time, getting mentoring and feedback. And absolutely, it's a lifetime process, because I think we're all, over the course of our lifetime looking to achieve and to do better.
Sure.
But you are right. At the end of the day, we do need to accomplish things now. And that's how I would approach it.
I love where you're coming from, John, and I think we should have you back on the program. You've got some great resources. Let's send people to johnmhawkins.com. Get a copy of the book, Coached to Greatness. And while you're there, you should probably get John M. Hawkins, to become your next coach. 844-MY-STRATEGY, 844-697-8728. John, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Eric and Angel. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Folks, we'll be back right after these messages.
America's home for positive business talk. You're listening to the Experience Pros radio show. Contact them on the web at experiencepros.com.
KDMT, Denver's